Hi there. This is Richard Coles, your host, and welcome to the Walk-In Transformation Podcast. This is where we talk about insights, principles, and strategies to overcome challenges, fears, self-doubt, and negative thinking, just to help you create a better quality of life for yourself and for your family. If you're tuning into this podcast for the very first time, you are going to love the real stories, interviews, and powerful talks we bring you just to help you make it through your day with as little stress and drama as possible. Welcome back to all of our subscribers and all of our supporters. We're very, very grateful to you for your support. I wanted to say just a quick prayer because we all need some prayer. This is from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4-8. I think you're going to like this a lot. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoings, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. Prophecies, words, knowledge, all these things will pass, but not love. Thank you, Father God, for giving us so freely the love that we crave. Now let's jump right on into this week's topic. This episode is all about signs. Just like there are street signs to direct you as you are driving, there are signs that will direct you on your path in life, but you have to be paying attention. The signs we're talking about today are the most impactful signs, the invisible signs, better known as your emotions. God has given us the most advanced guidance system ever created, but most people don't follow the direction of the guidance that we get many times daily. Our emotions are either desirable or undesirable. In other words, feeling joyous, in love, happy, these are desirable emotions. These are a few of the emotions that we want to feel more every day. Now, anger and depression, on the other hand, are emotions that we would rather feel as few times as possible because they are not desirable. Visible signs we see. Invisible signs we don't see but feel and hear. For instance, if I hear someone screaming, that's an indication that I need to either run or someone is in extreme pain and is crying out for help. But what about when our emotions are screaming at us? What about when our anger, depression, or anxiety screams at us? What stops us from doing what's necessary to ease that pain instead of just enduring it until it either fades away or we become more immune to it? What stops us from changing the circumstances or conditions in our lives that are creating and fueling these emotions that we really don't want to feel? For a lot of us, having to deal with these same undesirable emotions over and over and over again has just become the way that we define ourselves. We have allowed ourselves to become the woman that is always depressed, the man that is always angry, or even the teenager that suffers from regular anxiety attacks. Now, I know most of us don't want to feel this way and would really rather change the way that these emotions are taking control of us. So many people have told us what to do and have even prescribed medications to help, but we can learn how to take charge of and control our emotions. Let me say right here, however, that if you are on medication, please don't stop taking your medication and please stay in constant contact with your doctor. There just may be alternatives for you, but you got to talk to them to find out. We're living in a time right now where emotional immaturity seems to be a normal thing. There's nothing wrong with being emotionally immature, nothing at all. The problem with emotional immaturity is when you live there. Immaturity is just a natural part of the life cycle. Children, after they are born, remain immature until they reach the age of maturity, or at least that is physically. When you plant a fruit seed in the ground, that fruit seed, even though it is growing, is still considered immature until it matures enough to bear fruit. Emotional immaturity has been one of the major causes of fights, shootings, grudges, loneliness, and a list of other undesirable outcomes. So many people today, for instance, react instantly when they feel offended or like someone has disrespected them. More people than ever before are allowing their emotions to be master instead of being master of their emotions. That's why financial counselors, substance abuse counselors, grief counselors, all of these counselors, that's why they tell their clients not to make any major decision when they are highly emotional. Usually decisions made in a highly emotional state result in the wrong decisions. When someone has done something that makes us angry, upset, or makes us feel insignificant, it's usually because we feel like they have taken something away from us. Maybe we feel disrespected or like we're being attacked or betrayed. Maybe we feel unworthy or like we're just less than. Please understand, everyone, nobody can take away your respect. No one can make us feel these feelings. We experience these feelings because of the way we see ourselves and because of our story. These emotions become a natural response to the hurt that we feel after time. A quick pause will allow you space to think, but this takes practice because our natural inclination is to feel, react, and then think. When we don't take time to process what it is that we're seeing, hearing, or feeling, our reactions are split-second fast. That's dangerous because it usually leaves us having to apologize, harboring resentments, or just feeling bad about our actions or reactions. Things can even turn physical. The power of your vision will help you change that process. The power of your vision will help you, with practice, to first feel, then think, and then respond or act. You see, the best way to adjust the way that you respond to situations that make you angry is just to stop, take a couple of deep breaths, and slowly exhale. Remember that no one can take your peace away from you. You have to surrender your peace. It's just that some people have gotten so good at forcing you to surrender your peace because if they are not peaceful, they don't want anyone else around them to be peaceful. They feel unworthy of peace or joy. I know a woman who, to this day, is still in an abusive relationship after 10 years of emotional pain and anguish. When I ask her why she doesn't leave or start working on a plan to leave, she always says that she loves him and maybe he'll change. They aren't married, and she doesn't even understand why he won't marry her. Everything that they own, everything is in his name, and she's worried that one day he will just up and leave her. She actually loves him more than she loves herself, and she is tolerating his terrible treatment of her because she's just afraid that he will leave. She's put on a few pounds, and since that's happened, she doesn't feel attractive anymore. Because of that, she doesn't think that anyone could possibly be interested in her, and she is afraid to leave him because she's afraid to be alone. She sees herself as unworthy. Her self-confidence is gone. Her self-image is very low, and she is sad almost all of the time. She is miserable because she chooses to be. We had a serious talk one day after she reached out to me, and I was able to help her see that this is the life that she is choosing for herself. That she is choosing to stay unhappy and feel like a woman who was not appreciated or loved. I hugged her tightly as she sobbed like a baby for about 5 minutes. She finally asked, as her voice quivered, "What do I do? I don't know who I am anymore." I explained that there are people whose sole mission in life is to destroy your self-image because that is a part of the story that has shaped who they are. Hurt people hurt people. Your emotions will tell you that you need to either work on your relationship or continue suffering in silence. You need to have an actionable personal development plan that will help you build your self-esteem, your self-image, and your confidence. You need a plan that helps you fall in love with yourself again. She and I went to work and developed a plan for her. She now has a job that is helping her rebuild her self-confidence and self-esteem. She's moving forward. She's finally started a separate bank account, and she is working out a few days a week. She's falling back in love with herself. Yeah, she's falling back in love with herself. Yes, it is a slow start, but she has to start somewhere because this is a process for her, just as it is with each of us. Our emotions are glaring signs to us that let us know there is something wrong or something is right. The signs we choose to follow, visible or invisible, will determine how successful our road trip or life trip will be. Fear, anger, and sadness are emotions that some people just accept as normal for themselves. Not following the guidance of these invisible signs can result in staying in a job, relationship, or living environment that you hate, and that misery can steal your hope and joy. Having a vision for your life will give birth to a plan. Having a plan for your life will give birth to activity, and activity will give birth to hope, confidence, and your revival as you begin to pay more attention to your emotions and what they are telling you. We're going to take a quick break here just so that I can acknowledge our sponsors and supporters. We're so very grateful for you because without you, we would not be able to do what we're doing. I also want to invite you to subscribe to this podcast and even become a supporter so we can continue to share content like this with people that are really looking for something to help them change their lives. Don't go anywhere because we'll be right back. Welcome back. And before the break, I was talking about being more aware of what your emotions are telling you to help you improve the quality of your life. The beginning of change is dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction does not mean that you're ungrateful. It means that you know that there is more to your life. Your vision will help you develop a plan. Your vision will also help you develop a strategy to execute that plan. I used to have an anger issue a long time ago, but no one was aware of it because I kept it bottled up inside of me. I discovered, however, when I started to learn more about emotional maturity and immaturity, that my anger was telling me that I have surrendered my power to control my emotions to something or someone else outside of myself. My vision empowered me to take back control of my emotions by not reacting, but by putting whatever made me angry into its proper perspective and making a decision to respond or remove myself from that situation altogether. I learned through practice to respond to situations not as the emotionally immature man that I used to be, but as the emotionally mature man that I was becoming. That's really important, so I want to say that again. I learned through practice to respond to situations not as the emotionally immature man that I used to be, but as the emotionally mature man that I was becoming. Let me remind you that this is a process and it will not happen overnight. The more you practice, however, the more automatic it will become. A baby is not born knowing how to walk. Only after a lot of practice and its mother having many near heart attacks, this child soon learns how to walk and starts running all over the house, breaking everything in its path. Your imagination plays a very large part in this as well. You can, in the safety of your imagination, visualize yourself reacting differently to situations that anger, frustrate, or make you anxious, or even situations that give you a negative mental attitude. You can literally practice getting control of your responses to situations that attempt to shake or take your peace. It's okay for us to feel emotions like anger, fear, frustration, and sadness, and even loneliness. But it's not okay to stay parked in those emotions. You have to be able to visualize yourself pausing for a moment and then responding in a way that empowers you to move forward as the person that you are becoming. Now, it's not going to be all peaches and cream. Forget that thought. That's just not going to be the way that it is. But with practice, you get better and better at it. Now, you've heard the saying that practice makes perfect, right? That's not true because practice does not make you perfect. Practice makes progress. What allows us to feel happiest as human beings is knowing that we are making progress. So don't be discouraged when you find that it takes practice. You are changing the way that you think, and that will take some time. You didn't develop these thought habits overnight, and they will not be changed overnight. So how do you feel about yourself? I mean, really, how do you feel about yourself? I'm sure that there have been times in your life, just like mine, where you decided to try something and failed at it. I know that there were times when you started doubting yourself because it seemed like things were just working out for everyone else, but not for you. I'm sure there have been times in your life where you just felt a sense of inadequacy or that you just didn't measure up. You really want to think about your inner dialogue here. What other people may say about us can have an effect on us, but what we say to ourselves affects us more than anything anyone else can say about or to us. Our inner dialogue needs to be encouraging, supportive, and loving. It should build us up, not tear us down. We can be our very worst critics. It's even hard for some people to accept compliments. Confidence, a healthy self-image, and sincerely being loving to ourselves are all results of a healthy inner dialogue. If you don't believe you can do something, you're going to have to convince yourself that you can. You can only do this by telling yourself that you can, and you have to repeat this to yourself over and over and over in order to build your confidence. I can remember talking with a friend one day about how rough things had gotten for me before I moved back to D.C. from Illinois. I was telling her how the business that I had gotten involved with had failed and that I had to somehow get back up and dust myself off. I don't know why, but she started tearing me down. I mean, viciously, too. Maybe that was her attempt at tough love, but it wasn't working for me. She could only see the physical man and not the inner spirit man. What she saw was that I had just failed at starting a business and seemed a little different to her. What she didn't see was that I was dealing with something much more devastating. A business venture that I had put my heart, soul, blood, sweat, and tears into had just failed. I couldn't return to the place where I lived because I just didn't have the money. I was totally alone. I had put everything into this business, and I really needed it to work, but it didn't. I had also been battling addiction and alcoholism and was about 9 months sober, so this added to that devastation, or so I thought. I was in a lot of pain, man, and that conversation could have completely shattered my confidence, but I refused to let that happen. I decided to start leaving daily motivational quotes on my Facebook page to motivate, encourage, and uplift others and to keep my own positive mental attitude strong. She told me that she thought I was losing my mind, that it didn't make sense to her, me wanting to help other people when it seemed like, well, not seemed like, but when I needed help myself. Oh yeah, she wounded me very deeply that day, but she did not discourage me. I can say that it did feel that she had me against the ropes, pounding away at my self-image. I chose to take a step back for a moment, though, and I started saying one of my affirmations. My own permission is the only permission needed to be happy and successful. My own permission is the only permission needed to be happy and successful. I repeated this affirmation whenever I started feeling unhappy, inadequate, or like I had failed. It worked for me in the past, and I really needed it now. Sometimes it only took 10 repetitions to change the way I felt. Sometimes 20, sometimes 100 repetitions were necessary. The point is that I would repeat this affirmation until I felt better about myself and replaced any lies with the truth. That was and is the only way to overcome the negative thoughts that automatically run on a loop in our minds. No one can make you think a certain way. You have to choose the thoughts that will occupy your mind. These thoughts will dictate what your inner dialogue will be. Paying attention to my emotions is what prompted me to immediately start using a positive affirmation because I felt rage building up inside of me. My emotions were telling me that my self-image was under attack. Take the time to understand why you feel uncomfortable in certain situations. Listen to your intuition when it speaks to you. Stop thinking of yourself as someone who has to prove himself or herself to everyone else. As a very famous musician said once before, you gotta dig the skin you're in. I like that. That's super cool. You have to be your most faithful and dependable cheerleader. No one can tear you down unless you actually accept what they are saying about you as true. And if you accept what someone else is saying about you as true, then you value their opinion more than you value your own opinion. You must believe that you are the most important person in your universe, and I spell that Y-O-U, universe. Now that you have started working on getting very clear on what your vision is, so many distractions will fight for your attention. Don't let distractions, whether they feel good or not, take you off course, because that's what they are designed to do. That's just what they're designed to do. You deserve a life that is fulfilling. You deserve to say, "Good morning, God," instead of "Good God, it's morning." You deserve a life where you are loved and respected by others. You were created by a loving God who only wants the best for you and who has given you everything that you need to create the life for yourself and your family that you really, really want. A life that glorifies God. That simply means that you deserve to live the best life that you possibly can. Again, I'm Richard Coles of RHCG Motivation, and it has been such a blessing to be able to spend some more time with you. I believe in you. I behold the Christ in you, and I speak health, prosperity, and purpose into your life right here, right now. I truly hope this episode will add a little more value to your life. And please, please, please don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and even share it with your friends, because you never know who might need a little bit of encouragement or just to know that someone really cares. Remember that you do matter and that you have always mattered. Remember that you are good enough and that you have always, always been good enough. I'll be talking with you next week, so make sure you have a fantastic week on purpose and stay groovy.